Hello, my name is Deanna Deacon. Thank you so much for joining me. I am an intuitive life coach and I focus on creating divine feminine empowerment with every single person that I work with. And the topic for this evening is, are you willing to get messy? Are you willing to sit in the uncomfortableness and the discomfort in order to find the growth and the expansion and the expression that you're seeking in your life? The reason I bring this up is a lot of individuals that I work with come to me because they're seeking to live the life of their dreams. They're seeking to live this freedom lifestyle. They're seeking to find passion and excitement in their relationships, in their career, in their purpose in life. They're just seeking more. They want to feel more, experience more. And one of the pieces of this is that in order for you to experience more joy, more happiness, more passion, more excitement, you have to be willing to be messy. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable. You have to be willing to sit with the discomfort of growth. And growth isn't always easy and shiny and beautiful and what you see on Instagram. Growth is often in the darkest hour of the night, in the corner of your house or in your room where all you're doing is sobbing because there's so much releasing from you. And the work that I do is to help you realize that this experience, the releasing, the openness, that's a part of the process, and it's just as beautiful as you expressing your dreams and you living your desires and you being exactly the person that you want to be. The reason I felt the desire to talk about this tonight is because it was brought to my attention with a coach of mine that maybe I'm not willing to do that for myself. And I wanted to take the opportunity to just get really real with you and be a little bit vulnerable here and let you know that as much as I can support you through this, at the same time, I'm going through it too. It's challenging for us to show up in a capacity of saying that we're not good enough or seeing that we're not good enough. That's the way we perceive it because we believe that to be good enough means that you're happy all the time, that you always feel good, that you've got lots of money flowing, that you're doing all the things you want to do every single moment of every single day, right? That's what we perceive to be good enough. That's a good enough lifestyle. And so oftentimes when we see ourselves in this messy state, when we see ourselves like breaking through shit and like dealing with these situations that are occurring, we deem this as less than. And as much as I can see from my clients that it's not less than, that they're still perfect and whole in that experience, for myself to take myself to that deeper level, I think I've been holding myself back. And I've been reminding myself of the inaccurate observation that that's less than. And it's interesting. They say, especially when I started my coaching training, they said that the clients that come to you are always going to be going through things that either you've just gone through or you're still processing. And that's how you can serve them the most. And that's how energetically and synchronicity you bring yourself together because you're on a similar level. You can really support each other that way. So first of all, to all my clients that I'm working with right now, I want to say thank you. Thank you for being willing to step up. Thank you for being willing to work with me. Thank you for being a mirror to me as much as I can be a mirror to you at the same time. So thank you for that. I appreciate it and it means so much to me. And now I challenge you and question you, I suppose, to you and to me. Are we willing to get messy? Are we willing to sit with the discomfort? Are we willing to actually work through all of the things in order for us to live an inspired and enchanted life, in order for us to actually feel the joy, the passion, the excitement, the purpose in life? So I want to know, if you're watching the replay or if you're live with me, what comes up for you that you feel a little bit intimidated by or something that you don't necessarily want to deal with? Oftentimes for people, it's around relationships and the way that you show up for others, or that, you know, the way people trigger you. This is what came up in the conversation today with me, was different triggers that I have in social settings. And I was a little bit defensive of my triggers, as a lot of us are. I'm sure you can relate to this. When someone tells you, well, not even tells you, when you acknowledge that you have a trigger, it's kind of like, I really wish I didn't have that trigger. You know, it's unfortunate that that pisses me off and makes me reactive. It doesn't feel good to experience that or know that or state that about yourself. But in order to live this conscious, evolved, enchanted life, it's important for us to understand what it means to take responsibility for that. So for me, when I was acknowledging that I have this specific trigger, I then kind of went defensive and was like, oh, like, yeah, but I mean, it's for a good reason. Like, this happens for a reason. Hi, Elena. Oh, I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Share with me as I go through if you have specific thoughts around this or specific examples or experiences with it. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Tara. Oh, how exciting. Thanks, you guys, for being here. So if you've just joined, I was talking about how I was working with a coach today and realizing a few triggers that I have in social settings and how I was a little bit fearful to actually deal with it, to go with it, to experience it, to be with it, and immediately turned into the defensive. Even though when you work with a coach, it's a pretty safe environment, but these are just these natural tendencies that we have, these natural indications that are like, whoa, I'm scared, retreat, cover, like even body language will be like, yeah, like whatever, it's fine, I do that. So what I found in this was there's a part of me that isn't willing to just get messy, to like be a mess, to look like crap, to just sit with the uncomfortable discomfort, crappy stuff. But that's where the growth is. Okay, I need to fix this. But that's where the growth is. That's where you actually start to experience why you have those triggers, why those things occur in your life, why you don't like that, or why you perceive that you don't like that, why you don't get along with your family members, why you're not actually achieving what you want in your career or making the growth that you want to have, why you can't welcome in all of that abundance and money that you want because you have a block, myself included. So I just want to have this conversation about where in your life, and you don't have to state it, but if you're feeling brave, I'd love for you to put it in the comments. Where in your life do you feel you're holding yourself back? Where in your life do you feel like you're not willing to let yourself be fully expressed, to let yourself be fully vulnerable and open and real? Another area for me that it's come up a lot is in my business. I very much want to put forward this professional face, and I have a degree in marketing, so I understand the benefits of having this persona as you put yourself forward. But at the same time, the work that I do is so personal, is so intimate, that it doesn't make sense for me to always be like perfect on the outside in terms of my business. So something that I've had a lot of trouble with in terms of showing up fully, talking about the fear in my business and things that challenge me and that I'm afraid of and that I'm scared of. And I've got some pretty big news that I'm going to be announcing in probably the next couple weeks that you're going to be seeing on this page. And I'm kind of terrified, super excited, really, really excited to make it happen, but also kind of terrified. And even every time I put a post forward, it's a little scary. I know that the things that I say are having an impact because you guys tell me, and that helps me so much to understand that I am making a difference and that it's worthwhile me doing these things. But I'll tell you, it's not freaking easy. It's challenging. And when you spend all your time hanging out in this like little private jungle and not necessarily working side by side with people, not necessarily being in an office where there's camaraderie and like excitement and joy and all these things, it gets lonely. And these are all things that I deal with on a day-to-day basis that I don't necessarily talk about with people. Hi, Ashley. I don't necessarily share this because there's a part of me that really doesn't want to be vulnerable. And I deeply appreciate, there's a few of you who've been clients of mine on with me right now, and I deeply appreciate the fact that when you come to a coaching call with me, or for myself when I show up with another coach of mine, that we're willing to get vulnerable, or we're willing to be called out when we're not willing to get vulnerable. You know, like someone, we allow them to actually state like, hey, I don't think you're really present right now. Something about this isn't working. Something about this doesn't feel good. Hi, Sarah. So again, coming back to this question of where in your life do you feel you're not willing to get messy? You're not willing to be vulnerable. You're not willing to show your true self. Do you hold yourself back from expressing emotions when your eyes well up with tears? Maybe you're a deeply emotional person. I am a highly sensitive person, so trust me, I get it. I almost cried today when I was told a story about a poor little puppy dog that was suffocated on an airplane. That's terrible. And I held it back as opposed to letting myself express it fully. That's an example of it right there, of not being willing to get messy, not being willing to be fully expressed in whatever that means. And I think that one of the ways that we can support each other to allow this to occur is that when you're with someone, when you're in a social setting, when you're with a friend, when you're in a situation where someone is expressing something, maybe they're deeply sad, maybe they're really angry, maybe they're hurt, they're really triggered by something, there's something that's causing them to like, ugh. Just try to be with them. Just try to acknowledge them where they are. You don't have to fix the problem for them. And I can guarantee you can try to fix the problem. You can try all night long. They might take your advice. It's not going to work. It will not work. Number one rule of coaching, and not that you all are training to be coaches, but number one rule of coaching is do not try to fix other people's problems. Let them come to the solution themselves because they already know. Just like you already know what your body needs, you know what you want in your life, you know what your purpose is, you just have to find the pathway to it. Same thing. Social situation with a friend that's really pissing someone off, you can't fix it, they have to fix it themselves. Sarah, you are also a highly sensitive and empathic person. Yeah, high five to all of the struggles we've been through for that. But learning that it's a beautiful gift is kind of what all this is about. So again, bringing it back. Why are you not allowing yourself to get messy, to be vulnerable, to be fully seen, to be acknowledged? And it doesn't have to be on a public platform like this. Like, you don't need to showcase to the world what's going on, but you need to have an outlet. And whether that be that you have a coach that you work with, or a counselor that you see, or your partner, or someone, a good friend that you really trust, someone that's willing to be with you when you're going through the thing. And again, it's not someone who's going to try and fix it, because that's not going to help. They can't fix it for you. And I want you to remember this. If you remember anything from this conversation, remember this. No one else can fix your problems. Even if you hire me as your coach, I will be the first one to tell you, I didn't do anything. Okay, I do some things, but I don't fix problems. I show up for you, and I hold space for you, and I help guide you to find the solution yourself. If I claim that I created the solution, I would be a terrible coach. Trust me, this is absolutely accurate. If you have ever worked with a coach who thinks they know all the answers, run away. That's not how it works. Sarah, took me 30 years to learn I couldn't help fix or change people, right? Yeah, 100%. Me too. It took me going into my coach training. I was the type of person in high school where everybody who had the most like life-threatening problems in their life occurring, and you know, when you're a teenager, everything in life is kind of life-threatening, but this like deep hurt that they had, they always came to me. And I thought I was doing them such a favor by trying to fix it for them. It took me a long time to realize that I never ever could have fixed it for them. There's no way. It's not possible, because each of us are independent, individual human beings. And although energetically we are all connected, we intuitively have our own intuition that guides us every single day. It's important for us to actually find space to listen to that. So again, coming back to the theme, where are you not willing to get messy? Where are you not willing to be vulnerable? Because if you're willing to be messy and vulnerable, that's when your intuition will come in. That's when you'll suddenly be like, oh, of course, this is how I should respond to that situation. Of course, this is the path that I should take. Of course, I should leave that job, or leave that partner, or leave that friendship, or put that stuff behind me, because I'm feeling so drawn and so compelled and so brought forward in this manner. If you keep pretending that everything's okay, you won't receive that intuition. Or, well, you will, but you won't be able to read it. You won't understand it. You won't know what to do with it. It's about breaking down in order to build back up. And the cool thing is, I feel like the more you break down, the more you kind of practice this art of getting messy and being vulnerable and just being with yourself, the more you start to realize that you can handle it, that you have this amazing innate capacity inside of yourself to actually handle all of this stress, all of this struggle, all of this crap that's coming up. And it makes it a little bit less scary and kind of more exciting. Susan, how did you get so smart at such a young age? Oh, Susan, I don't know. It just came to me, I suppose. A lot of life experience, maybe. Elena, I think what's scary is wanting to replace what you leave. Yes. Okay, so classic example of this is, and this makes it seem so simple, but you close one door and multiple more open. If you don't close that door to begin with, oftentimes you can't see the other doors. Every single day, opportunities and possibilities are literally floating right in front of our eyes. But when we're so tunnel visioned on like, this person treats me this way, and you know, my boss always talks to me like this, or I don't earn enough money, my sister makes more money than me, or whatever stuff is going on, when we're so tunnel visioned on that, we can't even see the possibilities that are literally floating right in front of us, myself included in this. So when we release, when we let go, when we close that door, more opportunities become present because we're able and willing to see them. Another example that I heard recently is pruning a rose bush. For most of us, we're coming into spring soon, yay. So the concept of pruning a rose bush. You don't want that rose bush to have every single bud possible, because it doesn't have enough capacity or energy or nutrients to make all of those roses bloom and be beautiful. When you trim it back, it allows all of its energy, all of its passion. Rose bushes maybe don't have passion, but all of its energy and its nourishment and everything going into maybe those few buds. Maybe there's 5 roses that are so stunning, so beautiful, so big, and so healthy. Doesn't that make it more worthwhile than having like 13 kind of flowers? If you relate that to your life, wouldn't you rather have 5 things in your life that you're like, yes, 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 than 13 things that make you go like, it's pretty good. Yeah, I guess I'm happy. Like, we don't want to live that way, right? There's a reason that you're following this page, because this is the kind of stuff that I talk about, because we don't want to just have a life. We want to have a life with purpose and passion and excitement and joy and happiness. And this, I said this earlier, this enchanted lifestyle. It doesn't come without being willing to get messy, and it doesn't come without being willing to be vulnerable, myself included. So I challenge you to take a look at your life and find an area in your life that you can actually spend some time sitting with the pain, sitting with the discomfort, sitting with the oh, I don't want to, it doesn't feel good, I don't like it. Just breathe. Breathe, baby, breathe. This too shall pass. It always does. And it's okay to seek support. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to reach out to me, to anybody else, to your counselor, to someone in your family, to your partner, to your dog. Sometimes they're great at allowing you to see your intuition. Dixie helps me all the time. Elena, very good point and great analogies. Roses totally grow with passion. I want to be a passionate rose. It cuts off all of what you say. I think it just says I want to be a passionate rose, and hell yeah, you do. Interesting, we're talking about roses, Elena. Okay. I want you to know that life isn't meant to be hard, but it's also not meant to be without challenge. Okay. One thing that I've learned over the past couple of years of doing a lot of personal development work, which I guarantee you, if you ever go into this line of work or this field, you have to do it. You have to continuously grow, because as my clients grow, I better be growing with them, or, preferably a little ahead of them so that I can really support them and hold that space. But you have to keep growing. So over the last couple of years that I've really been honing in on this, the biggest thing that I've learned from it, I lost my train of thought. What's the biggest thing I've learned? See, look, I'm being vulnerable with you right now. I don't remember what I was going to tell you, but I feel like it was really quite insightful. So instead, I'm just going to tell you that it's so important for you to make space for yourself. It's so important for you to just honor the ups and the downs, the highs and the lows, the things that feel good and the things that feel bad. Because I can guarantee you that the challenges that you go through, while they may not get easier or less, you will begin to see them in a different light. I now have the ability, with most challenging situations I go through, to kind of chuckle to myself and go I wonder what I'm going to learn from this while I'm in the moment. That was never accessible to me before. I was constantly reactive, uncomfortable, angry, held on to resentment, not a happy person. I'm not perfect, absolutely not perfect now, but I found a little bit more space, a little bit more softness, like a softer landing. I feel like when I'm going through the struggles, I can kind of trust myself a bit more, trust that I will come out of it, and trust that there's a purpose for it. And that's what it means to be this kind of intuitively guided, knowing that the universe has some beautiful, beautiful experience at play. And when we can trust into that, release into that, and surrender into the mess, surrender into the vulnerability, it allows us to find more peace and happiness even within the challenge. So again, the challenges don't necessarily go away. You just get really, really good at being able to acknowledge them and play with them. Sarah says, I've had a hard time asking for help. I don't let people in to see my depression, PTSD, and social anxiety. It cuts off the rest of what you say. But yeah, 100%. It is very challenging when you know that there's something going on that's holding you back and holding you this way. It's really challenging to open yourself up and to trust in somebody else. It doesn't have to be a process of fully opening in a matter of moments. These types of things take time. That's why in my one-on-one coaching, I actually switched. Most clients that I work with now, I start with a 3-hour session. Our first session is 3 hours. I call it a deep dive. The reason for this is because I want that individual to know that I'm fully in it for them. I want them to trust and understand who I am and how I will work with them, so that every step moving forward after that, there's a little bit more openness. I get that it's not going to happen like this in one session, but by spending more time dedicating more of myself to them, it starts the unraveling process. And again, Sarah and everybody else who can associate with what Sarah said, it's not always easy, but it's essential if you want to live in this beautiful way where you feel passionate and excitement and this enchanted, magical mystery of the universe. I'm in awe of it every single day. And I know that you are too, and want to see more of that. So check on that. Check on yourself tonight. Maybe grab your journal. Maybe you haven't written in it for a year. That's okay. Just pull it out. Grab a random piece of paper. I have notepads all over the house. Grab a random piece of paper and a pen and write down, what am I not willing to get messy about? Where am I not willing to be vulnerable? and just see what flows. You don't have to tell anybody. You don't have to share anybody. You can write me a private message if you want, but just explore it for yourself. Where could you create some more space for you to be vulnerable, to be who you are, and to accept yourself for exactly who you are right now? Thank you so much for joining me. It's so much fun doing this. I haven't done it in quite a few months, and felt compelled to tonight. So thanks for joining me, and I will see you very soon. Mwah. Oh, I don't know how to end it.